to 2025. Yay, we made it. So thank you again for watching all the previous videos. In this year 2025, guess what we're starting with? We're starting with Ekuru. How does that sound? Lovely. Let me tell you a short story. So I've got this my brother, Dr. Shegs. If you can see me, I'm saying shout out to you. He actually brought the inspiration for this Ekuru. That's his best food actually. And he had thought that Tolani doesn't know how to cook anything. But here Tolani is making different kinds of delicacies. And to start 2025 with, we're going to be doing that meal, Ekuru. Ekuru is an African Nigerian meal actually, and is made from beans. You can see here we've got beans already peeled and thoroughly washed. Then it's going to remain bland when you make the ekuru. And then I've got the sauce for it. Then the way it goes, you have the ekuru and then you have the sauce beside it. For the sauce, we're going to be using different kinds of pepper. I've got the scotch bonnet in this. I've got also the bell pepper, and everything has been deseeded. I've got onions. I've got just about three pieces of tomatoes, because you really don't need too much tomatoes in the sauce. I need it chopped. I've got pomo, that's the cow skin. I've got this fish, manla fish. What do we call that in English now? It's dried fish actually, clean and well washed. And then I've got palm oil. I've got also the seasoning and onions. You see, you've got plenty onions, because for ekuru sauce you need plenty onions actually. So now the very first thing to do is to blend the beans, and then we boil it. So shall we start? Yeah, come with me. All right, so first thing we do is to blend the beans. Like I said earlier, the beans has already been washed and then soaked for about 3 hours. If you don't have up to that time, it's fine. You can do just like 2 hours, it's just for it to get soft enough. And the softer it is, the better it will come out when you mix it. Yes, for ekuru, you make sure that you don't add water, or you add very little water. If your beans is actually very soft enough, you will not have to add so much water, because for this meal actually you don't need so much water for it. All right, so our beans is blended. The next thing to do now is to mix the beans, because after you've blended it, for ekuru you really need to mix it well, because it has to come out really fluffy. If it's not well mixed, it's going to come out hard. It won't be fluffy, and it might start looking like I don't know if you know moi moi. So the difference between the mixing for moi moi and ekuru is in the mixing, right? Don't forget you're not adding anything. It's going to be bland. I'm going to be transferring it into the mixer. Now I'm transferring it to the mixer. So now it's time to mix the blended beans. Like I said earlier, you need to make sure that it's well mixed. You can try to use your hand blender. It depends on the quantity that you're using. All right, so it's time to mix the blended beans. You can mix it for about 3 minutes, 4 minutes. Don't forget, if you're using your hand blender, you just make sure that it's fluffy enough before you rest with it. Yeah, so all right, so now I've mixed the blended beans for about 2 minutes. 2 minutes actually, not about 2 minutes. And now it's time to portion into my small bowls for cooking. Can you see the consistency? So you make sure that it's not watery. Ekuru must never be watery. You can decide to transfer it into a bowl before portioning, but I am not going to transfer it. I'll just do everything I have to do from the blending bowl. I'm going to be using these cute containers for my ekuru. It's always advisable for you to get your kitchen roll close to you when you're doing things like this, because your hands get stained easily. When you're portioning, you make sure that you go halfway because it's still going to rise. You know, it will puff up by the time it cooks. All right, so I've portioned the ekuru into the these pouches, and now I'm going to pour in just a cup of water into my pot. By the time I place it on fire, I'm still going to add like little water, but just for me to be able to arrange, you know, easily and conveniently, I decided to put it on my desk and then arrange before I place it on fire. Can you see this is well arranged actually, because you can easily cover your pot this way and everything stays right. So now let's go put it on fire. All right, so when you're pouring in water into the ekuru, make sure that it's always easier to use kettle, because that way you target the side of the pot so water doesn't pour into the beans mix. You had just little water. With this, actually, you have to keep checking, you know, maybe every 5 minutes you check again the level of the water and then you top up. And that is all we cover. Allow it to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. It should be done. All right, so while we're waiting for the ekuru, we should blend our pepper. Chop, actually. Don't forget, you're not meant to make it smooth when blending. It has to be chopped. That way, it's properly enjoyed. I've already washed the peppers and the onions, so right. All right, so now as you can see, the peppers and tomatoes, onions are now well chopped. Can you see the consistency is not too smooth, because for ekuru sauce you don't want your peppers to be too smooth. Now we can get on making the sauce. Okay, let's check on the ekuru first. Wow, can you see that it's rising so well? We still got enough water in it, so I don't have to add water. However, I'm going to be transferring this into another burner. Yeah, then I'll be using this pot for the sauce. For the sauce, right, you actually need, it's good to use a saucepan, but I'm trying to improvise, and that's why I'm using a pot that is kind of wide enough. Okay, so if you've got a saucepan, it's best to use saucepan for the sauce. You pour in your oil first. Don't forget that in the beginning of this video I had said for ekuru you need plenty palm oil. So the first thing is to pour in your palm oil into your pot. Don't forget, like I said earlier, it has to be much. So I think with this we should be fine, considering the quantity of pepper that we have. You allow it to melt thoroughly. It has to be melt, in fact, like very hot. After melted, it has to be very, very hot before you pour in your onions. Now the oil is really hot. Then we pour in the onions. We fry the onions for like a few seconds, or not up to 1 minute actually, because the oil is extremely hot. So we are good to go. Chopped peppers goes in next. Hmm, nice. This is what you call atadindi in Nigeria. The next thing is to pour in the pomo. You don't have to boil the pomo actually. Some people say that you should boil pomo first. If you watched my video on, I think, for euro now, like you really don't have to. It's not compulsory. After you've washed your pomo well, it will boil all together with your pepper and everything gets cooked at the end, so it's fine. You don't have to pre-boil the pomo. Then I've poured in my fish. The seasoning with salt goes in, and then you stir all together. We're nearly there. Nearly there. Oh, this looks so good already. After stirring, then you're allowed to fry for about 10 minutes. That's it. All right, let's check on the ekuru. By now, it should have been done. Oh, yeah, it is. Smells good. Yeah, so this is how you know. Just put maybe a fork in it. Can you see? It's already cooked. All I will have to do now is just to turn off the fire. Then when the sauce is ready, we're going to serve. That's all. Okay, so now let's see how far we've been able to go. Ready. So basically for this sauce, you have to exercise so much patience because you need to wait until the sauce is dry. You see your palm oil on it. That's usually a sign to show that it's dry enough, just like we have this now. So you can now serve the ekuru and the sauce. All right, it's time to taste. Let's see what we've got. We've got the ekuru. So I'm going to take this out of the pouch. All right, as you can see, we've got plenty palm oil on it because that's the signature for ekuru sauce. Here you go. Very yummy, isn't it? Okay, so now it's time to taste. Can I tell you something special about ekuru? The cutlery is your hands, actually. So you're meant to squash it. If you like, you could do it with your what's it called, English cutlery if you like. But then the best way to enjoy it is to squash it with your hand, and then you mix it all up with the sauce and you eat. Hmm, this is so good. This is so good. Trust me. You should try it. You will really love it. Hmm. Hmm. Fabulous. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you comment, you share, and then you click on the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Like, it is free. Please, guys. It is. I'll see you again in my next video. I really need to focus on this, like this is too good. Too good. See you later.